Okay, so we have a celebrity, a footballer, an international, who, according to Richard, scored the best ever and most important goal in Welsh history. Please welcome Thomas Robson Kanu. Good intro, hey?
Yeah, I've never been introduced like that before, I must admit.
Wonderful. Okay, in your own words, a little bit of an introduction and your backstory.
Yeah, so my name's Thomas Hal Robson Kanu, former professional football player, fortunate enough to have had a career at the highest level of professional football in the Premier League and internationally. But in 2018, I launched a health drinks business called the Turmeric Company. And it was all about bringing a range of natural, functional turmeric-based shots to market. And this range particularly changed my life as a teenager, as I suffered from severe inflammation and pain, as well as swelling in my joints from surgeries I had as a teenager. And without this range, which my father actually created, I wouldn't have had the career that I had. And so, yeah, we launched the Turmeric Company in 2018 as a digitally native vertical brand. Have scaled it quite nicely over the last 4 years, and we're looking to turn it into a global brand and ultimately support and service as many consumers more conscious around health and nutrition as possible. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And how did you and your dad come up with the formula and know what to put in and know that it was actually going to work?
Yeah, so the background is that the range itself, my father created because we were looking for natural ingredients that would support the reduction in inflammation and pain. Now, a lot of dis-ease, i.e. disease, is due to inflammation of cells in the human body. And so if you can naturally reduce inflammation, you're going to not only help reduce acute pain and injury, but also help reduce chronic pains, issues, and also a number of diseases as well. And so we went on a research binge over a decade ago and began to identify raw, functional, natural ingredients that could help with the reduction of inflammation and obviously pain. And these ingredients consisted of pineapple, pomegranate, ginger, and subsequently turmeric, but all in its raw format. So a lot of people, and a lot of people in this room will have heard of turmeric, particularly as a spice. But in terms of health benefits, you may be aware that there's reports that it may help fight cancerous cells in the body. It may help fight arthritis and chronic ailments. But actually, it's the raw format of the root that you need to consume in order to get the functional benefits. And you also need to consume it in an absorbable format. So consuming it with things like black pepper, olive oil as a fat soluble. So all of this research my father and I did well over a decade ago, created the blend, and I used it to allow me to have a successful playing career from a physical perspective. And we decided to obviously bring it to market in 2018.
That's fantastic, because there's a lot of people, isn't there, that white label other people's products, and you can buy supplements and just stick a label on it. So did you start that way, or did you want to go for the best quality right from the get-go?
Yeah, so we realized that in terms of what was available on the market, there were no truly functional, natural products. And what I mean by that is a lot of products you'll see maybe in the shot format might be in a glass bottle. But if they're in a glass bottle, they will have been pasteurized. And through pasteurization, it's ultimately heat treatment. So when you do that to a natural product, you're compromising the nutritional value and therefore reducing the functional properties of that product. Another example is that you'll also see, sort of turmeric shots or ginger shots on shelf in a number of retailers or shops such as M&S or Pret. But when you actually spin the bottle and look at the ingredients, you'll see that the majority is apple juice, or the actual turmeric quantity is very low, or is a powder or a liquid, not the raw root. So there's a lot of, in the health industry, there's a lot of products which masquerade as functional, beneficial, whereas what we're trying to deliver is a highly effective and high quality product, which we have obviously done. And, since launch, we've serviced over 100,000 customers online through our direct-to-consumer store. We've received over 10,000 positive customer reviews. So we're really beginning to affect a lifestyle change in a lot of people's lives, and we're very passionate about building a brand and a community around what we're doing.
And you took at one point your manufacturing in-house, so talk us through the decision and the implications of that.
Yeah, so we grew from 2018 to 2020, 20 quite rapidly, and so we hit capacity at our existing manufacturer. We set up as a manufacturing business because no contract manufacturers would produce the product how we wanted it produced. So we effectively had to become a bespoke manufacturer of functional, high-quality shots, as well as build a brand. And so we had to align both, and really understand in terms of which drove which. And we hit a ceiling in 2020 because we grew so rapidly, but it allowed us to take a step back, assess the market, assess the opportunity, and really understand what we needed in terms of resources and infrastructure to allow us to scale into a global brand, which is obviously our objective over this next 5 to 7 years.
Great. And we talked earlier with the guys at No Two Ways about creators, and we had Grace Beverley here earlier. How important has your personal brand and fame and celebrity and footballing background been instrumental in the growth of the business, would you say?
Yeah, I wouldn't particularly class myself as a celebrity. I was a sportsman who had, a relatively decent sporting career. But what we've really done well as a brand is we've created, stories, and we've created experiences around the product, and basically allowed our consumers to tell their story through the product, through the brand. And that's been a key element of a lot of our early success in terms of building advocacy, building community, and building storytelling. But the fundamentals are ultimately about the product. Like, if it wasn't a product which actually had a benefit, at some point, you're going to run out of gas, you're going to run out of steam, because you're actually not changing people's lives. You haven't got a purpose. And I think that's the fundamental driver for me in any business, is that it has to have a really strong purpose and a strong reason to being. And I think we've established that in terms of helping change people's lives through nutrition, driving habit-forming change in the form of our shots by allowing consumers to consume a shot every single day, build that into their morning routine or post-workout or exercise routine, and actually begin to feel a tangible difference in their well-being, whether it's their energy or their reduction in pain. So, we've obviously got some of the shots here, I think, as well. You can try them firsthand, but they're extremely high quality. You can taste their raw. You can, really experience them firsthand. But that is the fundamental driver for us, is the product.
Fantastic. And what is the long-term sort of vision of the brand? If it was to achieve it, what would you have done? Yeah,
so as a brand, we launched very, very much obviously under the Turmeric Co. We didn't make no bones about it in terms of what our value proposition was. But in terms of diversification, the global turmeric market has grown to 500 billion over the last 18 months. For us, we know that we are servicing a growing market in terms of the functional shot category, but in terms of product diversification into new product formats, it gives us a really unique opportunity to really corner the market in terms of functional, health-focused, turmeric-based products. And obviously, we're leading with our shot range in a raw form, but we're looking at a lot of exciting innovation in terms of format in which it's delivered. And we'll be delivering that innovation to consumers, not only in the UK, but globally over the next few years. And, we've got ambitions in terms of North America and Asia, which will really, accelerate the good work that we've done to date as a business. Fantastic. And tell us a little bit, if you're happy to, about your kind of funding journey. At one end of the spectrum, you've got brands that kind of bootstrap and go it alone, don't raise any money. At the other end of the spectrum, you've got brands that raise tens of millions of pounds. Where do you sort of fit in that range, and how have you grown? Yeah, so we've been self-funded to date. So we've had no investment rounds into the business, and it's privately owned. We've been profitable out of 2 out of the 4 years as well. But a key element for that is our strategy around customer acquisition, our understanding of data around, really driving lifetime value and retention rates through our consumers. We know we have a very sticky product, and we have also delivered that in a very strong subscription replenishment model. So we know we've got some really strong metrics around the business, but you also have to invest in terms of brand awareness, and top of funnel growth to really sort of continue to accelerate that growth as well. But in terms of our funding journey, we've been very, very fortunate. We've been very strategic in terms of how we've approached various markets. As an example, we haven't listed anywhere in terms of retail. That's been on purpose because we want to build community and build brand and grow our business. So we are a very strong business before we approach retail. And we're now in the process of, obviously doing that, and we're having retailer discussions. But again, it allows us to be in a stronger position in terms of margin with those discussions, and we can, be in a better position when negotiating. So for us, we're excited around the next 24, 36 months because we've got a lot of product innovation. We've launched the business off the back of 3 SKUs or 3 products. And we've grown the business off the back of those since launch. We have another 10 new shots in our new product development pipeline. So we'll be looking to bring those to market and deliver real, true innovation into the market over the next 2 to 5 years.
Brilliant. It's amazing listening to an ex-footballer talk about average order value, customer lifetime value, customer acquisition. How did you go from being a professional athlete, sports person, into the business world and learn everything that you've learned?
I've always been fortunate in a sense where I've had an interest in businesses since I was at an early age, and also the setbacks that I had in my professional sporting career highlighted the fact that it was always going to be a short career. And by what I mean by that is, a 10-year career in football is quite a long career. I had a 12-year career or 14-year career, but actually, I'm still sort of 33 years of age, so I'm still relatively young in terms of life terms. So I was more conscious of that than maybe other professional athletes are due to my career actually potentially not actually happening because of the injury. So yeah, I was interested in business, and as I said, I've had some really good mentors. I read a lot, I absorb as much information as possible, so I try and understand every function in the business, and then obviously bring people in who can really deliver that function, and then learn from them as well. So yeah, I think just being open to learning and relearning always, but also having, particularly in business, having an obsession with data. That was one thing one of my mentors told me early on is, whatever business you go into, whether it's, property development, consumer packaged goods, media, whatever it is, you have to be obsessed with data to really understand the business, but actually make it successful. So, yeah.
Brilliant. And on LinkedIn, you're quite active, aren't you? And you put a lot of content out. I follow you. It's fantastic, some of the stuff. And like mindset, attitude, what advice have you got for everybody? The qualities that you learned in sport that you've transferred to business that you think are fundamentals? Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think in terms of the football industry, every kid in the UK at some point wants to become a professional footballer. So it's without doubt one of the most competitive industries I've ever come across. And so, things that I've learned about that and which I've taken from sort of business, from sport into business, is the fact that every single day is an opportunity. Every single day in sport or football in particular, you're judged. So whether that's your coaches, your peers, your fans, social media now, everyone has an opinion. So understanding that level of intensity is required to perform at that level is almost like stepping into business is a little bit of a, it's less intense, I would say, than professional sports. So really understanding that every time you step into a work environment or
step into any form of working objective, it is actually an opportunity, and it's an opportunity for you to achieve what you want to do. The other area that I think is really important is about team. So obviously sports, team sports in particular. Make sure you've got good people around you. My father told me when I was young, and I didn't really understand it until I actually went into professional football, and he said, success has many fathers, but failure is a bastard. And I think actually, I didn't understand it when he said it to me, but it was only when I went into professional football and then had an injury, didn't play for 2.5 years, and my phone hardly rang during that period. Whereas then, fast forward 3 years, making my Premier League debut, playing against Manchester United, Chelsea, all of these big teams, all of a sudden everyone wanted tickets and everyone wanted to come. So I think, making sure that people are around you for you and want the best for you, and being aware of the energies around you is really important.
Amazing. Can you talk us through that goal? Because Richard really wants to know.
Who is Richard? Oh, it is on the next.
Is it on the next slide? Okay.
This is the whole game.
Yeah, Aaron Ramsey should have scored. In goal, but run into space here. Good control too, and he's found a cross. Al Robson-Kanu, he's turned brilliantly. What a goal that is!
So that was in the quarterfinals of Euro 2016. We were playing against Belgium, who were ranked #1 in the world. Obviously, my grandmother's Welsh, so we were qualified as Wales. And it was the winning goal to take us through to the semi-finals, where we played Portugal and obviously lost because of Cristiano Ronaldo. So.
What a finish, what a finish, what a move. Outstanding.
Thank you so much. That was inspirational. So just talk us through what goodies we've got for the various shots that people can take away.
Yeah, so I think I've not seen what was delivered, but we've got our raw turmeric and beetroot shot, so really good around exercise. Raw turmeric original, so the base of that is watermelon crushed, pineapple, and raw turmeric, obviously. And then we've also got our raw turmeric vitamin C and D3, which is the world's most potent shot, 1,000 milligrams of liposomal vitamin C and D3. Amazing for boosting your immunity and reducing any aches and pains you have.
Is that why they're all standing up? So we got some different kind of shots at the after party in a minute. So give them a massive round of applause. Thank you very much, Thomas.